This program is brought to you through the kind support of the Friends of That's What She Said and Taylor Backus Glass. Support BCTV by visiting bctv.org/support.
It used to be great, now it's not so great, but it's still pretty great. Reading. It used to have lights, then it didn't have lights. New with LED lights. Pagoda. Did they really say that? They did not say that. Yeah, they did say that. That's what she said.
Well, good evening and welcome to another episode of That's What She Said. Doesn't it feel like the devil came up from the inferno and sat right on top of us lately? Are you all surviving? I hope so. Well, we have some introductions to do, as everyone knows. Well, you should. I'm Jane Street. To my left is...
Sheila Harrington, the knitting fool. That's how I do.
Ellen Gallagher.
I'm Martha Richardson. I didn't get the uniform code for tonight.
Someone call in and comfort
guilty.
Martha. She's feeling like an outcast tonight.
Tell her how beautiful she looks.
And I'm Kira Apple.
And we have oh, look, there's an extra seat taken tonight. We have a special guest because we're talking about baseball tonight, and we have Mike Drago from the, a reporter from the Reading Eagle. And, well, who wants to take it away?
Well, should I tell a little bit more about Mike?
I think you should.
I have a hunch that Mike is someone that almost everybody who is watching already knows. But a little bit of background is that he has been with the Eagles since 1983. He's been in sports all that time, and currently you have the Fightin Phils beat. But you do a lot of other things. You cover scholastic sports. What do you do like in February?
Well, February would be high school basketball. I do plenty of that. High school football in the fall, and then in the spring and summer,
Okay.
Fightin Phils.
Do you have a favorite? I mean, deep down,
I
personal
don't. I
favorite?
enjoy
All
whatever
of them.
sport is in season, and
Any level.
it's nice to that the seasons change, and you get every few months you get a new sport to write about. So they're all enjoyable, and they all have their good points.
And you've been here long enough to watch a generation of athletes rise from one level to the other.
Oh, at
haven't
least
you?
I'm getting close to my second generation of.
Are you
I mean,
really?
a lot of the high school kids that I covered when I first came here, I'm starting to cover their kids, and
That's exciting.
when I start to cover their grandchildren, I think I'll know it's time to move on.
That's wonderful.
We found
I
that
was-
with teaching as well.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I was remiss. I didn't remind everyone that we are live, of course, and you can phone us at 610-378-0426. That's 378-0426, or tweet us at @she tweets to me. So, carry on.
Okay. Since we are a panel of women, we would like to see more representation of women in sports coverage. There hasn't been much of that. I mean, yes, there are female sports reporters, but as far as beat reporters, do you know of many? Will we see any?
You're talking Major League Baseball?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or, yes.
There aren't many, and I know of one in San Francisco who actually went to college with. Susan Slusser, covers the Giants, I believe. But there aren't many. I don't know why that is. I know that it seems that more women journalists go into television than into print, at least in the sports world.
Well, they look good on television.
Well, that's probably a reason.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
they're sought after on television, and print not so much.
But you don't find them up in the booth covering the game, doing the color or anything like that.
I know that the Yankees have a play-by-play announcer, Susan Waldman, I think is her name.
Okay.
But that's very rare to see that in television or radio as far as play-by-play and color people. I mean, most of your color analysts are former players, almost all of them are. So
Okay.
Right.
that would preclude women from that job. But
Okay.
play-by-play, there aren't a lot in any sports, really.
And
Probably for the same reason that they do come up through the sport itself. And
To a degree,
Yeah.
but women in journalism tend to do more of the reporting than
Right.
the play-by-play.
Yeah, they're the ones who always interview the guys at the end of the game
Right.
and get the nice little comments about what was it that they were trying to do and didn't do, or that they did do successfully, and they all are, yes, okay. As a reporter, reading some of your articles, you use a lot of quotes. How do you remember them all, or what's the technique that you use for that?
Well, I don't remember them. I have a terrible memory, so I could never do that. And most reporters, you can either take notes, write them down in your notepad, but most reporters use some kind of a tape recorder. Now you can actually use your iPhone, although I haven't figured that out. But you do record most of your interviews, and then you transcribe the interview after that, and that's how you use the quotes.
Who
Okay.
are some of the major athletes that you've interviewed or watched their progress who've impressed you the most with their, not only their performance, but their humanity? Can you think of
Oh,
anyone?
wow, that's a broad question.
I know,
because
I
as you
know,
mentioned,
I
I've been doing
know.
this 30 years, and I've interviewed a lot of baseball Hall of Famers, probably almost 24, who have come through Reading at the Hot Stovers or come through the stadium, either as players or managers or to be honored in other situations. Guys like Mike Schmidt and with the Phillies, of course, and most of the current Philadelphia Phillies team has come through Reading, and so I got to know, interview most of them when they were young kids, minor leaguers, 20, 22 years old, coming up through the system.
That's really exciting, isn't it, to watch them?
How do you think a reporter would do on a beat, having to go into the locker room and such? Do you think that would be an issue, or would the guys behave?
It happens all the time. It's not an issue. I mean, if the players are generally alerted and they're told to cover up, and it's not a big deal. I mean, it happens, especially in I've covered the Philadelphia Eagles and the Phillies, and there's always at least one female reporter and in there. So the guys get used to that. They know about it, and they should act professionally. And if they don't, then they're told about it.
Interesting.
But by then it may be kind of late.
Right, and there have been instances where players get out of line, and there have been lawsuits and things like that. So hopefully, the teams try to avoid that, certainly. But we've occasionally had some female reporters in Reading, some from our own staff, and they have locker room, clubhouse access just like everyone else.
Oh, okay.
That's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you keep in touch with any of the players that you've gotten to know over the years?
Somewhat in recent years, because of Facebook, it's become a little easier. Generally, and my own rule is I wouldn't, become like a Facebook friend with anyone who's currently playing till they're retired or moved on to another organization.
Yeah, it's like a conflict of
Right,
interest.
that's
Yeah.
exactly right. But some of the older players who've come through here 10, 15 years ago, I'm in touch with. And sometimes it's a good reporting tool to find players. 2 years ago, when we had the 10-year anniversary of 9/11, I wrote a story about the impact of 9/11 on the Reading Phillies, who at the time were in the playoffs. They were headed to New Britain, and that playoff series got canceled because the attacks happened the day the series was supposed to start. So I did a 10-year follow-up on the Reading Phillies, and that was the way I was able to track these guys down, because they're all over the country. And through that, I've maintained those contacts since writing that story.
Okay. Are any of them in professional baseball at this point?
A few were at that time. Of course, they would have all been 30 to 35, by that point. That's when their careers start to come to an end. But, others have stayed in it, coaching at the college level, the pro level.
So is anything exciting going on in Reading sports?
Oh, not much. I mean, some guy by the name
Other
of
than
Alex Rodriguez stopped by this week to play, and that was a little interesting.
And how was he? Uh-oh.
He's an interesting guy. I'm sure you know about his background and many of the allegations about him, and he was very cordial and friendly and
had even visited Reading as a,
Yes,
as
and
a child.
That's right.
Really?
A big scoop of the week.
Yeah.
He has relatives who still live here, and he has an aunt and at least one niece that I know of that live in Reading. And everybody was surprised to hear that he used to come here and spend his summers. But he was very cordial to the press, but he would not talk about current controversies going on regarding the biogenesis scandal and steroids and all of that. So we didn't get a whole lot of news out of him.
Okay. And it may have been the one game he's playing this summer?
We played 2, and now he'll be back, I believe, July 22nd. He'll end his rehab,
Okay.
and I think he'll be back with the Yankees that night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Let me ask you another question. I'm going to get a little more philosophical here. You've seen a lot of players, and I think you're being very humble. But I think I would like to know, because as a teacher, I saw students who seem to have a lot of talent in athletics in one event or another, one sport or another, and then they just kind of fade away for whatever reason. And then there are those that make it. And in addition to talent, ingrained wonderful talent, what other qualities do you think are necessary, or do you see in those that you know who have gone on and really made it?
Well, I think the most important thing is internal drive. I mean, the talent, when you get to this level and above, it's pretty close, it's pretty equal. But the difference, the guys are separated by how badly they really want to succeed. And sometimes you have to totally devote your life to it to make it, because it's a very challenging profession, professional sports. And just being fast or big or, being a good hitter, it's not always enough. You need that little extra to push you over the top. And the guys who've really succeeded the most and become the stars were guys I could even see at this level. You can tell who's really working 100% and beyond and giving it everything they have to succeed.
And part of it, I would imagine, would be also dealing with the long dry spells of no hits after having a real rush of really good bats, and then suddenly not being able to get through that and see into the future that you're gonna get past it. 'Cause
Right,
that must be very
you need a
defeating.
lot of mental toughness.
Yeah,
Because in baseball especially, they call it a game of failure. If you're successful
Right.
1 out of every 3 times, you're a great hitter.
Right.
That means you're unsuccessful 2 out of every 3 times. So you have to be able to absorb the tough times, the low moments, and have the resolve to get through that. And in baseball, especially of any sport, that's very important, because it's a long season and it's a difficult game. So you can't make it to the top and succeed at the top unless you're mentally
I
tough.
think we see that even with high school athletes that I knew that just really had the drive to keep going and worked harder than anyone else, and you knew they were going to at least move into the college level. Thank you.
Now, I want to know, out of all the sports, does baseball have the most superstitions? Or
Oh, by
are they
far.
equally developed? Oh,
No, baseball players are very superstistic. The way their uniforms. I mean, sometimes they'll wear T-shirts or special socks under their uniforms. Or they're very superstitious about their bats, their gloves. You'll see pitchers run out to the field. They'll jump over that white line.
baseline.
And they don't like to talk about it either, but we know it goes on.
Do you think the football players are just more quiet about their superstitions?
No, it's a different kind of a sport. There's not as much downtime in football. There's not as much time to think. In baseball, you go 20, 30 minutes between your bats, and the ball might not be hit to you. So there's a lot of mental downtime where you can think about things more, long bus rides, rain delays, things like that. So I think that leads to baseball players overthinking things sometimes.
Have you ever heard of a really good superstition?
Good in terms of.
I mean, like a
Really
really
wow,
fun-sounding one.
wow.
Like, I can't believe that's it.
Yeah,
I can't believe that's the
they're all
superstition.
kind of silly. I mean, Wade Boggs used to eat chicken every day because he thought it helped him hit. So I don't know. I eat a lot of chicken, but it never helped me.
Well, yesterday was the All-Star game, the Major League All-Star game, and we were, most of us, rooting for the National League. After all, we're wearing our colors here. But you grew up in Baltimore.
Martha's not wearing her colors today.
And, well, but she's a
wants to
Phillies
be, though.
fan.
I'm a
She really
Phillies
is. Who did you cover a National League team? But you grew up rooting for an American League team. So who did you root for
Oh,
last
I'm
night?
still an Orioles fan. It was exciting. They had 5 players on the field, 4 in the starting lineup. So they've been down for a long time. So that was pretty exciting to
It's
see
about
them
time.
have some good players there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and have you gone to Orioles games
I
this
was
year?
a couple of games this year.
Okay.
Absolutely. The stadium still looks great, and fans are starting to get excited again.
That's great.
It's nice.
That is
It's
a
nice.
wonderful
It's a-
stadium.
It is. It's a great place to go
I've
see
heard
a
it was
game.
wonderful.
Ladies, we have to move on. So, any final thoughts for us or for him?
Thank you. Read your
Yeah,
work on
thank
those
you.
columns.
Thanks for having me.
We're delighted that you were here.
Indeed.
And,
Thank you so much.
Keep those articles coming.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And
Come back again.
yes, please join us again.
Okay.
There's sports all year. We can have you on every time. Come when it's cooler. All right. Well, coming up later in the program, we have some special guests. But as a little teaser, we spent some time at the Reading Fightin Phils Stadium, and well, heck, just roll the tape.
Well, here we are. We're at FirstEnergy Stadium, Reading, Pennsylvania. This is one of Reading's jewels, and we're here with Todd Hunsicker, who is a big guy in all sorts of ways, and he's going to help us tour and tell us about the stadium, so that we can pass it on to you and talk about baseball. So here we are. Yay.
The stadium was built in 1950, completed in 1951. It was originally called Reading Municipal Memorial Stadium as a tribute to our veterans. The dog tag monument down there still allows us to still pay tribute to all the veterans. In 1951, it was not the Reading Phillies, it was the Reading Indians, yes. Hank Greenberg was the general manager of the Indians at that time and was hugely responsible for bringing a team to Reading, and its debut season was the Reading Indians. They were here for 2 full years. They were here for a couple seasons, and then eventually the Reading Red Sox came to town. Boston brought a team to Reading, and they were here for a longer period of time, and a lot of the folks in the Reading area have a lot of memories attached to the Red Sox because of their relationship here with Reading Municipal Memorial Stadium at the time. Now in 1967, we started a relationship in Reading with the Philadelphia Phillies, and that relationship continues to this day. It's actually the oldest affiliation between a minor league city and a major league ballpark, a major league team in the entire country. Up until 2011, we didn't have a team store. We had a very small souvenir booth, which really limited the amount of merchandise that we could carry. So having this much larger, air-conditioned, climate-controlled team store allows us to bring in all different types of merchandise. So we started here, the Reading Indians, as I mentioned, in 1950. That was our first team. That's Hank Greenberg. He was the general manager of the Indians back then and was hugely responsible for bringing the team here. It always makes me laugh because this, I guess they got their championship rings here in, I forget what season that is, 1955. But apparently this guy didn't get one because he doesn't look too happy. He doesn't have a ring.
Just look at that guy there. Isn't he a handsome fella?
That's right.
Chuck Gallagher installing Larry Boa and Mike Schmidt into the Reading Hall of Fame.
It's a nice coincidence. Here we have elected a camp baseball town, which is just someone who either as a player or as a member of the community just went above and beyond supporting baseball in Reading. And Ruth Hartman is our one queen of baseball town, member of the Cooperstown Baseball Hall of Fame. The other side of the concourse, when we circle back around, is the Phillies history from 1967 up to now. Similar with the years, a great hand painter came in and did all the logos here along the bottom. So people, older folks can reminisce and younger folks can learn a lot, about the history of Reading and baseball. We didn't want to mess up the classic ballpark.
It's probably one of the rare times where anyone's done a stadium renovation where there really weren't any complaints at all. As if you're an older person or you've been coming for a long time, you still have the same view. I mean, if you looked at this before the renovation, it looked pretty much the same. We added the padding on the outfield wall just for the players' protection. But other than that, it's the same view. Younger people obviously like it because when we take it to the plaza, there's a stage where we can have concerts, non-game day events, things like that.
What's wonderful about the minor league teams, they have so much going on. And just at every park I've been to with the minor league, it's been a fun time.
Carefully, it is steep there.
Can I get you a bag of sunflower seeds?
Might not be the cleanest. Baseball players not the cleanest young men out there, so I apologize for any.
I'm used to being around dirty men. It's true, I am. I want to remind you that the number to call is 610-378-0426 or tweet us at @She Tweets to Me. I just wanted to mention our table here. Ellen has brought in numerous baseball memorabilia, and our producer Jamie has brought in his favorite bat, signed by Joe McEwing, which is his favorite player of all time. Ellen, would you like to tell us a little bit about what's going on here?
Well, this is just a lot of different things, and mostly old things, as you can tell. This glove right here, well, it doesn't have a whole lot of padding in it, and it wouldn't be something that you would want your little kids to start out with, although it's small enough for their hands. And
is there
something
a
else.
mummified hand in there?
Is there what?
A mummified hand in there.
No, but
All right.
something you may have noticed is that there are only 3 fingers.
The glove is kind of mummified.
But that's because you're supposed to put 2 in the one
How old
place.
is that, Ellen?
Holds them together so that you can catch better with that. This is a Phillies hat from the 70s. As you can see, I'm not Phillies promoting here, but it just seems that for our situation it's good. A baseball card for a Hall of Famer wearing a suit, and it happens to be Connie Mack. And a Steve Carlton bobblehead, and a World Series pennant, and an old-timers ball, signed by people that I remember and liked a lot, although I can't find any Hall of Famers on there, but really neat guys. But I do want to tell you something about why I'm wearing this particular jersey. And if I can show you it, it is signed here, and it's signed by one of my favorite Mets who then went on and played for the Phillies, Tug McGraw. And those of you who know anything about the Tugger, he was quite a character. And the day that we went to have him sign this shirt, we were in a long line. I finally got up there, and he looked at the shirt, and he said, "You know, I think I actually did wear that shirt," because I'm sure there are lots of them that they are given to sign that were made just for that purpose. And as he was signing it, I said, "You know, I have a goat named after you." And he looked at me and he said, "Oh, I hope he's horny." So I had to wear this shirt tonight.
We've just learned a new side of Ellen. Thank you. And now, as a diversion from baseball, perhaps, we, as you know from our last show, we have a Saturday breakfast to discuss the upcoming show, and Kira was not able to join us. She was otherwise engaged. So we assigned her with a topic of coming up with this week's surprise topic. So my surprise topic this week is that Kira has a surprise topic.
Hooray!
So, Kira,
Well, it has nothing to do with baseball, but it does have to do with ladies. It's summertime. It's movie time. A lot of big blockbusters just came out, Pacific Rim, things like that. A couple months ago, though, I read a really interesting article, very sad article, I thought, about the state of women in movies and how at that time, aside from Before Sunset by Richard Linklater, there were no movies with a female main character in them at all. And then The Heat was going to be like the next one, which just came out. So that article also mentioned something called the Bechdel test. And I didn't know. I thought that might be an interesting thing for us to discuss. I don't know if you have ever heard of it, but it's the test for, like, women's presence in movies. And it's got 3 rules. The first rule is that it has to have 2 named female characters, 1, who speak to each other, 2, about something other than a man, 3. And that's it. That's the only rule that it has to pass for a movie to pass the Bechdel test. 3 rules. So...
And I imagine that there are very few movies
very
that actually
few,
pass that.
even with as little requirement as that is. So I didn't know if you could think of one that did or one that should, that doesn't. Before Sunset, the one that I mentioned before did actually pass it, because there was a conversation between 3 women in a kitchen at one point.
Now, is it never throughout the entire film do they talk about a man, or just...
No. Just they have to have at least one conversation between them that does not involve a man. That has nothing to do with men whatsoever, you know.
Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, that's probably a really good one.
Yeah.
The one I remember is Matilda. Miss Honey and Matilda talk about books. They talk about books and Matilda's family, but not about a man.
Ladies?
Well, I'm not a big movie goer recently. However, I'm thinking of one that I saw with, and I don't know the name of it, set in Ireland. Angelica Houston played a very, very impoverished woman who had a booth in a market. It was a wonderful woman's role, and I can't think of the name of it, but she would go to market with a stall, and she was selling whatever she could find to sell to support her family. She was very much in love with her husband, but wasn't bringing a lot of money in. And the woman in the stall next to her, they had this amazing friendship, and the woman next to her developed cancer. And it was the support and the involvement of that friendship. And there's no stronger support than women for women, I think. And it was a beautiful film. I wish I could remember the name of it, but I
We'll
could
look it
recommend
up. That'll be
Somebody
trivia.
sex with
Call in if
somebody
you know the
next to me.
answer. Call in if you know the answer.
Sounds like a typically happy Irish movie.
Yeah,
it does.
Typical Angelica Houston.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I mean, I don't know if this movie would even qualify. It's not even a movie appropriate for my age group, probably, but I like it and I'm watching it a lot because it's on TV all the time. The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Ah.
Well, it has been very popular.
Yeah, that probably passes
young
it.
women and,
Plenty
and girls.
of,
Yes,
plenty of ladies
yes.
in that.
Yeah.
You always steal Magnolias, too.
Oh, I love that movie.
Unfortunately, the women, the movie The Women, based on the play The Women,
Right.
I don't think that passes it. And it's all women talking the whole time, but it's always about their husbands or about the woman whose husband's just left her, and so.
I saw a movie not too long ago. It was at the Goggle Works called The East, which may or may not fit into this category because the main character is a woman, and it's about kind of eco-terrorism and very little having to do with love. And there is another very prominent female character that the two of them have form a bond, and it has nothing to do with the men involved in the film. It becomes a little bit of a gory thing because at one time the main character has to try to save the life of the other woman by putting her hand into her and getting a bullet out of her.
Oh my God.
I won't tell you how it ends.
Good suspense.
But anyway,
well, it's a good thing to
good
keep in
movie.
mind whenever you're watching
movie.
a movie to
Right.
see
Yeah,
if it
that's
passes
okay.
the Bechdel test.
That's good.
Yes.
Very
yes.
good. I will keep that in mind.
Indeed. Was that Irish movie, too?
It takes place here.
All right.
No, it takes place in the Northeast.
Right here in
The
this
East.
studio. They
Right
filmed it
here.
right here.
Right.
We will see Ellen remove a bullet from one of us after the break. But right now we must take a
I
break.
slept at a Holiday Inn last night.
Oh, well, there you go. So we will be back right after this.
You're watching bctv.org. Be informed, be involved, be a member. For membership information, go to www.bctv.org/support/membership. For other stories and information, go to bctv.org.
This is the home clubhouse. So this was renovated. When you get in there, you'll see that for 25 men and 5 coaches, it is, a pretty small area. Compared to a lot of the newer ballparks, it's still not as large, but it's hard to believe it's large. It's probably a third larger than it was. Teams playing in Trenton tonight, right? They'll be back late night tonight, so our clubhouse manager is getting everything ready for them returning.
They were talking yesterday about Darren Ruff getting to Philadelphia Saturday night. Would have been too late for him to play then. They said he got the late call. And so my question really was, how did he get from Allentown? Did they send a limo? Did he?
They
have
drove
to
him. Well, no, that's a great question. Generally, there'll be a our player personnel person will be in charge of all the transportation.
Okay.
Sometimes there's a car service. Sometimes it's an intern. If
Because
it's
it
a
was
last minute
apparently a
thing, it could be an
late-minute
intern
thing,
driving
yeah.
him in a vehicle.
What's nice is, as a fan, as anyone coming to the game, if you remember, there used to be separate entrances everywhere. So if you went in a season ticket holder gate, you sat in your seat and you left the same gate. Now everyone pretty much comes in. 95% of people come through this entrance here. So if it's a 7 o'clock game, let's say, from 5 to 6, it'll be food specials, drink specials. There'll be a band on stage. They can just, plug it in and go. And then that's sort of the hub of everything, right through one area, rather than funneling everyone. So you feel more of a sense of community here.
Not too glamorous, but this is the batting tunnel, the same batting tunnel that Ryan Howard and those guys train in every day. And we also, former player Mike Spadali and Eric Vallant, they do hitting clinics in here for kids and stuff when our team's on the road. So it's used quite a bit. If anyone wants to hit off the tee or anything.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do it.
You want to hit one off the tee?
Excellent.
I'll set it up on a tee because my arm's not loose enough.
Oh, no, I definitely don't want to try to hit him.
Lefty or right?
Lefty.
Me too, all right. Now that's, let me get out of the way of the shot.
Where am I?
Nowhere.
Nowhere.
Home run. Strike one. He had 3 strikes. 3 strikes.
Something.
There you go.
Anywhere but at me.
No.
A little higher. Yeah.
Terrible.
A little higher. Hit the top of the ball.
Hey! Line drive. Right at the second baseman. Jane's a righty.
Righty. Right. All right, first heels. Let's set the foot on the stirrup.
Wait till you tell the boys about that.
What a swing.
Normally I have glasses on.
Woo, Jane.
And I'm out.
Oh!
Good luck.
Got it.
Oh!
Very nice.
Don't mess with me, fellas.
I see you're sporting the Utley jersey.
Yes.
Favorite Philly?
He's rather a charming gentleman. We are back with these wonderful gentlemen, and that's gone out of my head. Todd Hunsicker and Anthony Pignetti. I knew I was going to mess that up. Pignetti.
That's good.
Pignetti. They are from, obviously, the FirstEnergy Stadium, the Fightin Phils, and they were kind enough to give us an amazing tour of the stadium. I have to get this out of the way first because Sheila is just chomping at the bit.
I am chomping. I've been waiting for you guys all day.
Todd has brought something very special with him. So they have ostriches, as you know, or if you didn't know, they have ostriches. By the way, the number is 378-0426 @ she tweets to me. Now that little bit's done. Sorry, it's the heat. It's just killing my head. So Todd has brought with him one of the ostrich eggs. Now we're told it has no babies in it, but it's large and shiny, and Sheila is just beside her excited
dying to see this egg all day.
We can certainly pass it around. There's a little condensation. It was in the refrigerator.
Sure. We'll take good care of it. Oh, wow. That was heavier than I expected.
It's heavy.
They're
It looks heavy.
one of our two ostriches. Our two ostriches are Ruth and Judy. I'd certainly love, one of them named after State Senator Judy Schwank, and the other Ruth Hartman, our queen of baseball town. And Ruth, the ostrich, that is a egg layer. Not every ostrich lays an unfertilized egg, but fortunately Ruth is that type of ostrich. And this is her sixth egg that she has laid this season, and that one was just brought to the world on Monday. So Alex Rodriguez came to town, and Ruth, celebrated with her sixth egg.
Are they regular, like every 3 days or something like that?
It's a great question. We're about to release a kids club contest to predict the date of the next egg that should come.
How exciting!
Thank you.
What a cat!
What do you do with that?
But no, the first egg she ever laid was at our Junior League of Reading Touch-a-Truck event with many kids and families right there. It was the first time we had seen that. To be honest, it was a bit horrifying at first because we didn't know what was coming at the end. We thought there may have been an issue with her, and thankfully, once the egg appeared, all was well with Ruth.
Cluck?
She did more than cluck. It was, females can probably relate better, but just to ease your mind about her pain, though, the ostrich egg is certainly one of the largest in the world. But when compared to the size of the bird, it's actually one of the very smallest. The ratio of the egg to the bird. If you think about the size of a chicken egg compared to the size of a chicken, this is certainly a large egg. About a 3-pound egg, equivalent to about 12 to 16 chicken eggs. But it's the world's largest bird, so a little bit less discomfort, I would imagine. But you wouldn't know on that day. That was on May 4th, was her first egg, and we all celebrated.
And Judy still is eggless.
Judy is still eggless, and it's interesting. The humans, the namesakes, Ruth Hartman certainly likes to remind Senator Schwank that Judy the ostrich has yet to lay an egg. So we're rooting for them both.
What do you do with the eggs?
The first one that came, the team was on the road, so just internally within the office, we made some scrambled ostrich egg.
You did?
We did, yeah. It's there are a lot of myths and misconceptions about ostriches in general. A lot of people ask me, do they spit? Don't they stick their heads in the ground?
The day we were there.
A lot of myths about ostriches, and a lot of people aren't familiar with an ostrich egg. So a lot of great questions from kids and families. And what I tell people is really it's very similar to a chicken egg, but you can't crack it on the bowl. It's one of the strongest eggs in the world. So you actually have to use a drill, power tools to create a hole.
So if we drop that would not break.
Probably.
Would you like to?
No.
We haven't.
Because then if it does, I don't want to clean it up. I don't want it up.
We're going to have Anthony stand on the egg before we say goodbye tonight.
Oh, wow. We'll see if that.
We haven't done any tests of its strength yet,
maybe we should get ready to put something down in case there's the trash.
But once the yolk, once the mixture inside comes out, it's really quite similar to a chicken egg. There's just way more yellow yolk and way more clear. But it looks the same. It cooks the same. It just fills the whole frying pan.
Wow.
That has to be
and it tastes, to me, it tastes
like chicken eggs?
no difference than a chicken
Tastes
egg.
like chicken.
If you remember, Anthony, she laid one of her eggs just a couple days before our annual morning game, which is played at 9:30 a.m. We open the gates at 6 a.m. So we invited fans on that day. WEEU had a caller contest for someone to go behind the scenes and cook the egg. So we had a wonderful woman come in and help the crazy hot dog vendor cook the egg, and we let fans sample it, and the reaction was similar, was that it was really no different. Some claimed it was better, but we'll go with at least as good.
Well, than most. I got to say that one of the things that really struck me when we were out at the stadium, I mean, your knowledge of the places and the team and the whole experience is amazing. But what really struck me was your personal love for these birds. You were, and it seemed them for you. There seems to be a really strong bond between you and the birds.
Well, I think everyone in the front office, there was. I was the one that raised my hand at a meeting when someone asked who wants to make the first call about these ostriches to see if this is possible. And since then, it's been a tremendous journey for all of us, really. I am a former science teacher at the middle school level, which certainly doesn't qualify me as a zoologist or anything close to that. But it's really been a joy for me. You know, we got the idea back in September, and all fall into the winter, speaking with ostrich farmers around the world, really, across the United States and in different countries. And there is an Ostrich Association of America, and close to home, you know, the Berks Agricultural Resource Network, Willow Creek Hospital, UPenn Veterinary School, just countless conversations with people all across the region with this fun idea that really no one had done before. So, you know, we visited a farm, you know, Roaming Acres Natural Farm is where they were born and raised. And just overall, it's been, I think they love everyone and everyone loves them. Certainly that interacts with them.
I think this shows us what the Fightin Phils are more than just a baseball game that is lots of fun to watch play the sport. The thing that impressed me too about the tour, and you two especially, was this is a family entertainment that's well reasonably priced and it's local. And you said on Sunday, any game on a Sunday, kids go free.
Yeah, Anthony.
Yeah, every Sunday kids would get in free. So if the parent buys a ticket, you know, those 2 seats next to them, 3 seats would all be free. Every Sunday game they get in free, but also there's also a kids club event. So that first hour, if it's a, you know, a 1:30 game, 11:30 in that time frame, there's a certain kids club event. So earlier this year, every kid got to hit from home plate. Later this summer on August, I believe 11th, there's a pirate princess party. So we'll have a big pirate ship in the plaza.
Sounds like fun.
You know, some of the boys will go with the pirates, the girls go with the princesses, and
wonderful.
or whatever you want to do.
The other way around.
Whatever you want to do.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot
I
of
want to
fun.
be a part.
And it's cheap. It's reasonably priced, and there's not much for families that you can do around
Absolutely.
here.
You know,
For
the
the
family
price
of
of,
4 can come out, you know, for around $48.
There's
A hot
swimming
dog,
pools.
soda, you know.
there are
Ostriches.
picnic
Can't beat
places.
that.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking again about the ostriches, we have one more little bit of tape, and roll it.
So as we walk up, just to share some of the story as to why we have these ostriches. You know, it started with our logo. So like I said, a lot of teams had success with fun, cartoon animal characters. Richmond flying squirrels, you know, there are no flying squirrels in Virginia. It's not indigenous. They just thought it was a fun character. The Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, while that name pays tribute to the old steel workers, it's not like there are a lot of pigs running around in Allentown. So what do we have? Well, we already have the crazy hot dog vendor, who's the most popular character here by far. He rides an ostrich, if you will. So they started playing around with ways to incorporate the ostrich, and this is where we got. University of Colorado runs a buffalo around the field. Like, we have to be, I mean, how hard could it be to have an ostrich? So they said, who wants to take the lead on finding this out? And I raised my hand at a meeting, and little did I know raising my hand at that meeting would now lead me on this incredible journey. Judy, named after Senator Judy Schwenk. The more restful today, Ruth. As we said, named after Ruth Hartman. You saw her photo. She's a queen of baseball town. In the baseball Hall of Fame as a female player. But 2 really awesome women from Reading, you know, from Berks County. And we're limited in the stories we can tell about females in the game of baseball. These girls will live here in this pen, about a 1/4 acre pen, until the end of the season. Then they'll go back to their farm in New Jersey. We'll pay for their food over the off season and then have them brought back in the spring. So ostriches live up to 40 years in nature. So Ruth and Judy could be calling baseball town home for many decades.
How old are they?
They're a little over 2 years old, just a few months over 2 years old. Last year they would have been way down here. So they grow tremendously fast in the first couple years, and they're just about full-grown size now. They might grow another 6 inches tall. If you'd like to, I would just hold it way back.
Wow.
Yeah, just to start with. She will get your finger. There you go. You want to go much closer than that. She will. There you go. So they don't have teeth, but they can pinch by accident. There is a little trick my father showed me here. If you put it like in between your fingers like this, then they can't really bite you. So take even a small piece right out of here. Anybody else wants to? It's not every day you feed.
I should feed an ostrich.
So I would say if you go like that, she might nip your finger, but if you put it between your fingers there, just keep your hand flat.
In cartoons, I always show.
Oh, she got you there. You all right?
Should I kick?
Careful. See, first of all, we don't have males for a reason. The males are very aggressive. The males can grow up to 9 feet tall, over 400 pounds, and in summer it's their mating season, and they're trying to impress everyone and be tough. So we would not be able to care for, nor we want to care for the males. Females by nature are way more docile, way more passive, curious by nature. You know, if they feel comfortable and safe and protected, they're very curious creatures, almost like a house cat. Like they just come right over to you, which is not a problem.
Put me in, Coach.
You want to go in at that? A little bit before the gates open, we take them out front in an enclosure where kids can get this close to them. They're behind a fencing like this, but that is really when the brunt of our education happens. And just kids, they ask every question under the sun, and from time to time I'll get a question I don't know the answer to, and I'll follow up and research and learn a little bit more.
Well, we have to say thank you to Martha for arranging this wonderful tour to the FirstEnergy Stadium with the Fightin Phils tour by Todd Hunsicker. There we go. And we've just had a marvelous time meeting the players' clothing and hitting some balls and watching the ostriches. So thank you for joining us. We'll see you back in the studio.
Thank you, bye.
Now, one thing we didn't discuss on the tour that I wanted to bring up, they have a monument out front of dog tags. And could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, when the stadium was constructed in 1950, it was originally named Reading Municipal Memorial Stadium as a tribute to our veterans. Since then, it's gone through a couple different name changes. It was GPU Stadium at one point, and is currently FirstEnergy Stadium. But when not the most recent renovation, but some years ago, the outside of the ballpark was changed a bit, and the dog tag monument was dedicated. That will stand there, as long as the ballpark does, to continue to pay tribute to our veterans, even though the name has changed over the years.
That's wonderful. And now tell us about the beard.
Well, I do,
very hairy man.
Not my normal appearance, and many opinions on both sides. My mother certainly has very strong opinions about the beard. But when I go into schools, I often open with the fact, this is. I apologize for my appearance. I grew this when we got the ostriches. This represents my knowledge growth of these two flightless birds. So
Nice.
I'm told we have a home viewer.
All right.
Come on in. Who's there?
This is Senator Judy Schweg.
all right.
Now, what's up with your bird?
I can't tell you how profoundly disappointed I am.
Now we hear you're an ostrich expert, so.
I am not an ostrich expert, but an ostrich admirer, yes.
They are beautiful things. I mean, so do you and Ruth have any money on this, or?
Ruth and I are very good friends. I have long admired her, and we talk and we joke. She's been throwing it up to me about the fact that I've been barren.
Now, I should interject. There was one egg that we found in their pen that was laid before anyone had arrived that day. So, there was an assumption made that egg came from Ruth.
Secret egg.
Now, but there's not 100% certainty. So, just to give you some ammunition there, Senator Schweig.
To do a DNA test.
I didn't even ask for a paternity test.
Indeed.
We thought maybe we should come up with a cheer for Judy, and we've kind of thrown some ideas around, and I think our best one was... Judy, 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 raise your leg and lay an egg.
Bravo.
I like that guy.
Imagine an entire stadium chanting that.
I've enjoyed your program. I certainly want to commend the Phitins for the outstanding job they've done with the ostriches. They are so well cared for. And every time I go to a game, when I see all those little kids looking, and talking to those ostriches, I feel really good about it. It was a very neat idea.
Well, and if I may, just thank you, Senator Schwank, because without Senator Schwank's office and her ability to put us in touch with a lot of folks in the agriculture and ostrich business, if you will, we would not have been able to accomplish that. So it is, we're very glad that she was open to the idea of lending her name, and we're very proud of Judy. And Judy is taller than Ruth as well, I should point out, in real life and in the Animal Kingdom.
There you go.
Thank you so much for calling in.
You bet.
Thank
Good night,
you.
guys.
Good night.
Oh my goodness! Well, that was exciting.
Not every day you talk to a senator.
Well, there you go.
Can we ask about what you're wearing?
Sure.
I mean, it's not.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well,
Before you get, this is a tribute to the crazy hot dog vendor,
Okay.
who is by far the most popular character with our kids and many adults, myself included. I might be one of the biggest fans of his. I got excited and I laugh every single time. In the 10 years, this is his 10-year anniversary. So the team wore this a couple of years ago as an on-field jersey on one of our kids' club Sundays, which are very, crazy hot dog vendor related. So I purchased one. I was such a big fan. And then Anthony is sporting our next what'd you say? Not our regular jerseys, but a featured jersey.
Yeah, for one of our featured jersey, July 25th, which is our next home game, a Thursday, we're going to celebrate Christmas in July at the ballpark. So all our players will wear these jerseys, and then as soon as the game's over, 25 fans will win the jerseys right off the players' backs. Yep.
Oh, cool.
So it'll be pretty neat. First time we've ever done Christmas in July.
And
so
no
we're
raffle or
excited.
auction, just 25
absolutely
fans. You
free.
just come out to the park and you have a shot to win one of those Santa jerseys.
That's great.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Go there for my birthday.
I had asked you this when we were touring, and so I know the answer, and I think it's a wonderful thing. I happen to have a 5-year-old granddaughter who is scared out of her mind anytime she sees Santa Claus or a mascot. And I was happy to find out that you have found a way to work with children who have those problems.
Right, and we're always cognizant, of mascots aren't for everyone at the adult level or the young level, and there are some phobias. On the other side of things, let me just say we have had some autistic classes in where the mascots and the fur has been such a positive thing to open up some children in their comfort level. But on the other end, certainly there are some people who have some fear, and when that's brought to our attention, we absolutely invite them. If they're willing to take, some baby steps. So my father, my 62-year-old father, Tom Hunsicker, works regularly as Change Up the Turtle, and he is, definitely one of our longest working and most talented mascots. And he has worked with several children who have come in, met him as the person, and then he will slowly transition into showing them the costume. If they're willing to put on the shoes or something like that, to try to break down the fear a little bit. And sometimes it takes time, but there was one particular student in the Wilson School District. We went to do an assembly, and he would not even be in the room that the assembly was held in. The assistant principal, brought it to my attention, and we met with him afterwards. And his father brought him to the ballpark a couple times, and he's worked up to the point where I don't think mascots are his favorite thing in the world, but he's certainly a lot more comfortable. So if there are any people out there that have any anxiety, any children that have anxiety, feel free to reach out to me personally or anyone in the organization, and we'll do our best to bring a mascot to your location or invite you to come and just have a little fun with it. It's usually the best way to counteract
And
that.
Todd, you are the Director of Education, aren't you?
Director of Educational Programs and Music. I'm a former teacher and a former full-time musician, so it really is an extraordinary opportunity for me on a personal level.
Unfortunately, we are running out of time.
Oh, boy.
This one went by really quickly.
It did.
Now we know July 25th is the
Christmas in July.
Christmas in July at the
8-game
stadium.
homestand,
You should
yeah.
go see that. Do any ladies have any upcoming events that you want to throw out there quickly?
I'd just like to encourage people to come to Reading for the Friday night concerts at the band shell, for the Wednesday luncheons in the Sovereign or in the center in Reading. There are a lot of really wonderful things happening right in downtown Reading, and then on the way out, you can stop to see the Fightin Phils. What could be better?
As long as they're home.
As long as they're home.
Well, even when we're not, we have a concert this Saturday when the
And
team's on the road.
Jingo's open every day.
Fightins.com. There's plenty of events even when the team's on the road.
Excellent. Fightins.com. We are, that's what she said, and we want to thank Mike Drago and Todd Hunsicker and Anthony Pignetti.
There you go.
There you go. Fabulous. We will be back. Oh, my goodness, no one looked at that ahead of time. We will be back in September on
Third Wednesday.
Third Wednesday, which is September 18th.
September
18th. We may have an idea of what we're going to do about that show, but I think we have to clear it with the management first. So, thank you. Thank you, Egg.
Would you like to catch the egg?
Oh,
go for it.
Ellen can catch the egg.
Want to catch it?
No.
I can step on it.
We'll do that on one of our Kids Club Sundays.
Yes,
just
save
to be
the
safe.
egg in case we
Absolutely.
break it. But thank you for tuning in. We thank you, as always, to BCTV and our wonderful crew here in the studio. We will see you on September 18th. Have a wonderful summer and stay as cool as you possibly can. Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.